Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are talking with the lovely Karen Lee Batten. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Good to see you, Tom.
Yeah, it's been a bit, but it's fun to catch up.
Totally.
And like I'm in Ottawa right now. We're about to get a major snowstorm, so it should be interesting when we're done this. I might have to go shovel for the next 2 days.
No, we thought we might have dodged it over here in Vancouver area, but we got snow last night, and it looks like we're in for it too. So maybe not quite as bad as you, but I might still shovel something just to make you feel better.
Well, I think they're looking at like 50 or 60 centimeters over the day and a half. So
Gosh, word, buddy.
mhm.
Well, no time to teach your 1-year-old how to shovel, right?
Yeah, she already loves playing in the snow.
That's awesome. Right on.
So we're here today to talk about you, your music, and just kind of what you bring to the world. But for those who are new, can you give a little introduction about yourself?
Sure. Like I said, I'm from the West Coast, so I'm from Vancouver area in a town called Langley. I grew up in Abbotsford, which is about another half hour kind of inland, and started out kind of like in the church singing, watching my dad in a Christian band. He cut a cassette tape called Assurance, and he was the bass player in that band. And I was a little minion and kind of, watched him from the front row singing away and whatnot, and kind of in awe of the music industry. And out of that came choirs and bands and alto saxophone and piano lessons, and all the things that you do mainly in the church, but then in school it was like pretty heavy for me, and every band I could get into before school, after school. When you get A's in anything as a musician, you like stick with it, right?
Mm,
Because we don't love the books, and I don't know too many that love any other subjects.
yeah.
Um, and then out of that, I was sitting on the couch one day, looked up the TV, saw a commercial for Canadian Idol, went, I will never do that. And then my phone started ringing, and people were like, did you see that commercial? I'm like, no, 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 no. Ended up being great for me, though. You know what? Would never take any of it back outside of the eat, sleep, and breathe competition aspect of it, which was like super stressful. Uh,
Hmm.
it ended up being great, and I ended up in the top 10 of Canadian Idol. And then after that, came back home, hosted some karaoke shows. It's not all it's cracked up to be. You got to still like hustle and
Yeah.
whatnot. And cut my first album, Every Moment, right after Idol. And not to like totally date myself, but Idol was 2003.
Okay.
Three. I can't even believe that was the first season of Idol. And so cut a country record after that, and then went on to do a sophomore record 5 years or so after that. And then went down to Muscle Shoals and cut a record down at Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals. And then um, now working on my next album.
Mhm. Now I'm curious, do you remember the first album that you bought for yourself?
I do. Actually, it was two albums that I bought for myself at the same time.
Okay.
I bought Midnight Oil.
Okay.
This is like CD form. If I was to look back at cassette, I oof, I don't think I can remember that. But CD, I bought Midnight Oil. I bought U2 Joshua Tree,
Okay.
and shortly after that, I bought Rage Against the Machine, which turns out to be the first concert that I actually ever attended at Rogers Arena.
Oh wow, nice. That's a pretty good concert to be your first.
Right? I know. I
Mhm.
think I was 17 or 18, and my girlfriend and I didn't really understand, like, how you just kind of think, get to the front of the stage?
Yeah.
But just saying that line and then paired with Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah, I can see that being something.
not a good idea. We didn't know though, And so
Hmm.
very quickly into the concert, we realized we were in the wrong place. And all I could see was just like sweat.
Yeah.
A lot of skin and sweat. And so I actually had a guy pick me right up and run me out of the mosh pit and
Oh,
drop
really?
where my other girlfriend was just standing waiting, like she just booked it and left me in the dust a little bit. Love you,
Mhm.
Christine. No, yeah. So that would have been my first probably three. I loved back in the day. I loved like Janice, and I loved. Sorry, my dog's gonna make some noise, but I loved Janice, and I loved Alanis, and like Sarah McLachlan and Tori Amos, and like all of that like good classic like '90s alternative rock.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough. So I'm a photographer also, so I get out to cover the live shows. And
Okay.
I've been lucky enough to cover Rage Against the Machine and Alanis
Yeah.
and those bands. It's been in groups. It's been fun.
Oh my gosh, that would have been killer. I would have loved that.
Mhm. It was one of those things. It's like, okay, this is a bucket list check off because I'll never be able to do that again, probably.
No doubt. That's so rad. My husband and I actually saw Alice in Chains not that long ago. It was pretty cool. Even though it wasn't exactly the same as the way we remember Alice in Chains, it was still a really cool concert.
I think we have Motley Crue coming to town this year, so that should be something.
That's awesome. Right on.
A
As
little
we
bit older, but
I love it.
Mhm.
That's awesome. This is
Now,
Whitney, by the way. He just
hello.
entered into the film, which happens
Mhm.
quite often. Hi, buddy.
Always likes to be front and center, I guess.
Exactly. I love it.
Well, one of the main things we're here to talk about is your new single. I have written down The Trouble with Friends. Can you tell us the story behind that one?
Sure. So, I think when in writing music, sometimes it can start out with an idea of like, like, oh, there was a breakup or, whatever, like, negative things in your life, positive things in your life, whatever it is. In this case, I looked at my buddy Jeff Johnson, who's just an amazing, amazing killer writer out our way. He writes with a lot of people though, but and I looked at him and I said, I just want that song that's about like the local bar with your buddies, like your local watering hole. You're finished your work day and you know that when you walk into that bar or restaurant or coffee shop, whatever the case may be, that you're gonna run into people that you know. Whether you even arrive by yourself, it'll take 20 minutes, half hour, whatever it is, for somebody to walk through the door, and it's like, oh, there's Mike, oh, there's Jim, whatever. So
Mhm.
for me, it was the concept like I have a watering hole like that near me, and for me, it was a concept of like, if I'm going to go and meet a girlfriend for brunch, there's definitely been times when brunch has turned into last call.
Yeah.
And you're just there because you go, I'll just have one more and then the bill, I'll just grab one more. Yeah, no, actually, Sally showed up, I guess I'll just grab one more and the bill. And then all of a sudden, like that's the trouble with brunch.
Yeah. No, that's makes sense for sure. I know I've been in that situation a few times.
Totally, right? I think most of us have. And beyond the concept of it being like a restaurant or like a location, I think for me it's just the idea of like, those are the good times. Like we hustle and bustle around and do our thing all day long and, work hard to make a dollar, whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, it's like those times that we work for that we get to see those buddies, like those are the times that matter, and I think that many people hopefully would agree with me that that's the case, and that we work to have those good times, right? Work hard, play hard.
And it never seems like there's enough of them, that's for sure.
This is true, exactly.
hmm Now, I'm curious about your process when you're putting together a song or an EP, just your general, how you kind of manage to flush it all out.
I think it started out for me, if I can even go back to the beginning. Hey, if I can go back to the beginning, I think it started out for me where as a new artist, you're kind of like building albums in the green, and you like the songs, you get pitched songs. If you're not quite a seasoned writer yet, you might kind of get pitched some things, and you're like, what, I could sing that. I think I could sing that. And you're testing it out, and your voice sounds good on it, and you feel great about it. But the things that you don't really know yet at that point are how they're going to flip over on stage, and how is that going to look for a live performance, and how is your audience going to be receptive to it, and are you going to love it in 5 years? And I mean, you don't know those things, right? So such a different way that I write and compile a record now, where first it has to be, and this is something that's hard to get right, I feel, and I still have to kind of remind myself how to do this on a daily basis, but I have to write for me. I
hmm
have to write I have to write songs that I know I'm going to love first, and I have to write songs that mean something to me. And I still get pitched songs, and I still record other people's amazing tracks as well. But in both of those processes, like I have to pick things that are for me first. And I think before I used to sort of pick things not all for everyone else, but a lot of it did come from what do I think other people are going to think of this, and are they going to love it when I'm on stage? I have to love it. And by me loving it, it's going to show to my audience that is something that I'm passionate about. And so when I'm writing, I'm really trying to tap into something that I want to get up on stage and I want to say, and I want to have fun singing, or I have a real something to say, and then at the end of the day, then I'm kind of going, I really hope everybody loves this because this is
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So in this case, coming into this next record, I know that this is our third release off of the record, and I've got another four kind of ready to go.
Okay.
And so it's yeah, I'm so excited about it. Every project I feel that you do as an artist, you hope that this is the better project than the last project. I mean, you just hope that you grow from everything that you've learned and that you're putting out, constantly putting out music that you love, but that also people want to hear. And I'm excited to get up on stage and bust it out.
Mhm. Now, if we go back to, let's say, 2014's Cause a Scene, and then 2021, we have Drinking Song. How has your music evolved over the years coming into the new releases now?
That's a good question. Mm. um, I probably would honestly tap into the last answer a little bit. I was still in that place of I had something to say in Cause a Scene. I really had something to say. And I don't mind saying this on air because it's common knowledge if you just Google it. But like I went through a divorce, and in my first album, I was married to my first husband. In my second album, I wasn't married. And so in that sophomore record, I had something to say. And so hence the title of the track,
Mm-hmm.
title of the album, Cause a Scene. In the video for Cause a Scene, it's a wedding scene. And we actually blow up a car.
And that's
And I
always a fun thing to do.
mean, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some interesting little things in there. There's some family members that are in there as well, and like it's yeah, it's a flip over. It's a time in my life where yeah, it's almost like the Taylor Swift effect, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually a very good analogy for sure.
Yeah, and then Cause a Scene, I was in a new relationship at that point, which was awesome. But I definitely had something to say about the last one, and so I think that every record kind of did that. And going into the Muscle Shoals album too, I mean, that was just like a 6 degrees of separation. If I hadn't jumped on it when I did, it never would have happened. And that was just I was sort of wanting to cut a cool covers record off the floor, doing something live, and I didn't really know where I'd go to do that. And actually, correction, it wasn't a covers record to begin with. It was just that I wanted to do a live off the floor, like something that wasn't super edited, super compressed, and overproduced or anything of that matter. And didn't really care about it being contemporary or pop or any of that nature or top 40s. I just wanted it to be really real and authentic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And a vocal genre that I really loved, especially growing up. It all started like that, where it was like a lot of gospel music. And the build on that record was literally me sitting at a coffee shop with a buddy, and I handed him an album of me just kind of doing something a cappella and a few things instrumental, but all live. And I went, this is the sound that I want, and I don't know where I go with this now. And Mitch Merritt ended up co-producing that album down south with Mike Pyle, who is the producer for Bobby Wills. And I, as soon as he had that whole relationship starting, he ended up saying, by the way, we think we might be able to get some of the original Swampers on that record. And it would be the Swampers in the original studio of Fame. And as soon as that got told to me, we looked at each other and I went, well, we've got to do a covers record of songs in the same place,
Mm-hmm.
same ISO booth, where like Aretha and Etta James and all these amazing Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson, they all stood in that place and had that band performing with them and recording with them, and I'm like, that only makes sense. So, every record, I think it's amazing, the creation of it. And it's funny, Tom, like being on your end, interviewing people, like I would love to ask these questions too, to like some of the big, like, man, would I ever love to know Willie Nelson's stories? Like I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
they're out, like sitting down with him. And if I had to smoke one, I would. just to like sit there and
Yeah.
listen to these stories of like, where did this album come from and why did you write this record and so on. And it must be kind of cool on your end too. You must hear so many different answers as to where different things got created and came from.
Speaking of Aretha Franklin, I got to sit down with her son actually. So that was like we ran like way over because come on, you have to. It's talking stories and everything. It's so much just history.
No doubt. Oh my word. I can't even. I would have just died.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where as soon as it came across my desk, I said, how can I not do that?"
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. I know that when I stood in that room, like I about peed myself because like you're sitting there with these guys, these monster musicians that have played with like the biggest voices that we know to date that are historic. And I'm going, who am I? Like there was a tour group that came through Fame and started taking photos when we were on break. And I was standing in the isolation booth and I've still got my headphones on and I'm like ready to go. And everybody's just kind of grabbing a water. And this tour group comes through and they start taking photos. And I thought, man, I'm ruining your film. Who am I for you to take photos of me? And it was just like comparative to like what is going on in this place. Like you can feel it in the walls, and like there's a picture of Bobby Gentry on the wall, and there's a whirly in the background. And literally at the same time, I'm looking down at Clayton Ivy, who's playing the exact same whirly that he played on her song in that photo.
Wow.
It was just bizarre, like just crazy. But those are the moments in life, right? Those are my favorite times in my career that, Idol is one of them too. Like that was amazing. But like this one probably takes that cake just a little.
Sure. Yeah. Now, music being what it is and being as crazy as it is, how do you stay grounded outside of music?
Mm. So like a few things in life have occurred. You have choices and Y's and B's in the road. Obviously, we all do. And I'll be totally transparent. One of which I get asked a lot is, why didn't you move to Nashville?
Mm.
And I mean, at this point in my life, that's not even something that I even think about anymore. I love like doing what I'm doing from where I'm doing it. And I also have the opportunity with my other business to book acts too, which is amazing. So I kind of I like basically an event promoter with KLB Entertainment. And um, I I really love where I live. And it's a
Mhm.
choice I made way, way, way back. And for me, staying grounded was being able to be close to my family and my friends. They mean the world to me, and I want to be able to, like, whether I'm out on the road or whether I'm doing a radio tour or a concert tour or whatever the case may be, or I'm traveling for just, for fun or whatnot. I want to be able to come home and I want to be able to call my mom and spend that time with her at 70 years old. I want to be able to. I got to surprise her in June, like 6 days before her birthday, and tell her that we're going to Athens in 6 days, and I'm going to take you around Greece and Venice and so on. And like, I want to be able to do those things. And I feel for me, travel is a big thing for me.
Mhm.
My husband and I now say every 6 weeks, and I know this sounds bizarre, but it could be a day or 2 days or a week or whatever the case may be. But every 6 weeks, we do something away.
Okay.
I pull myself away. I think I've never had any kids of my own, although I would have loved to, but I did gain three amazing step kids. They were 5, 9, and 11 when I met them, and now they're almost 20, almost 25, and almost 27.
Okay.
It's pretty crazy. So they're very self-sufficient now, so we can kind of up and run. So between just having people in my life that have always been in my life, not because of what I do for a living, but just like there because they've known me since way, way back when I hosted karaoke or was a waitress at a restaurant,
Mhm.
before this career started, just having those people close to me that I can see face to face and then up and kind of travel and see the world, when we want to. It's sort of the fame thing for me was a thing for a while. I feel really, really blessed that I'm still successful to the point of what I am in
Mhm.
this industry, doing still what I love to this day. So
I
I'll take
mean, yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
can't. No. You can't. I don't even know if I would have been really good if I was like a super famous person anyways.
I mean, I always look at that too, and just how stuff is forced upon you when you get to those levels and commercialize this and that. And it I don't know, to me, it ruins music a little bit when you're trying to manufacture it.
Totally. I totally agree. I really
Mhm.
do. You know, you're gonna laugh. So this is the first time I'm ever saying this comment on air, but the most hilarious compliment that I got on this song so far was, and I said to the person that sent it to me, I said, "Hey, at some point I'm going to say this or I'm going to post it." And he goes, "Go for it." And I said, "I'll leave your name out." And he goes, "I don't even care." I was laughing. It was a fellow musician friend of mine. His name's Jeff Robertson, and he messaged me and he said, "Oh my word, I love this track so much. It literally brings me back to like good old fashioned country from back in the day." And he
Mhm.
goes, "I'm not sure that it sucks enough for today's country." And I
I
just
can
laughed.
I can totally understand that sentiment though.
And I just laughed and I thought, oh my word, buddy, this just kills me. But I get it to a degree, you know, and not to say by all means there are people making just killer music, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of, you know, other types of music out there too that make it that we all kind of go, huh? You know,
Yeah.
so for me, it kind of swings back to the beginning again, is like I want to, yeah, I like where I live. I love where I live actually. It's beautiful. I like being close to my family and friends, and I like making music that I really love. And
Mhm.
if that hits and something works at some point and something blows up, I'm all there for it. But I'm good. You
I mean,
know,
yeah, that's the way to be for sure.
yeah, having a good time, and
Mhm.
being able to put my buddies on stage too really matters. Like I love promoting other people and creating events. I get to work alongside the Vancouver Canucks, the Abbotsford Canucks, the Vancouver Warriors, the Vancouver Giants, a lot of sporting events, a lot of hockey and soccer and lacrosse, and build like country nights and
Mhm.
nights. And I mean, super fun, you
That's
know?
kind of awesome. Yeah. Like I'm partnered with a promoter here in Ottawa too who does national stuff. So it's interesting to see that side of things too, which is always fun to look at.
Totally, exactly. And you know, and this is absolutely not a puff up at it in any way. This year's award show in BC was very weird for me because normally you're kind of really striving to get noticed for your music. And you know, you want to be nominated for female vocalist and single of the year and album of the year and all those things. And that's sort of where my head has been over the years. And then this year was the first year I hadn't released anything since my last release back in 2020, well, basically 2022. And so throughout that whole year, there wasn't a single. I was, you know, obviously gigging and doing shows and whatnot,
Mhm.
but I haven't had an actual single in a little while. Video, yes, but not a single. And so it all became about, you know, booking and hustling in that regard and building up that company. And then all of a sudden the award show hit, and that's what ended up happening. And I completely, totally sideswiped, like, oh my word, what? And people, it was amazing. People were so receptive to it, and it completely humbled me to yeah, that they gave me 3 awards this year for KLB Entertainment, which is like mind blowing, you know? It's
Mhm. That's
very, very,
awesome though.
yeah, very cool. So yeah, having fun making music. And I love that I'm kind of back making music now. I'm putting it out again. But now doing sort of both sides of things has been a blast.
Mhm. Now I'm curious who are you listening to that you think more people should be listening to?
Mm. Oh, you're interested too. I mean, everyone is listening to Lainey Wilson. Let's just like
Yeah.
admit it, you know? And I just think that she is like outstanding and amazing. You know, Tegan Gaze is from our area. She's doing big things. I
Mhm.
think that she's a lovely individual, and she's a hustler, and I love that. As an independent artist myself, I know what it takes to sort of get out there and you know, make people hear you and see you, and she really does a great job of that. Allie Walker is another gal our way that is just like killing it, and she is amazing, and she's kind of been all over, and she's doing the Nashville thing as Tegan is too, and kind of bouncing around and getting herself known as well. You know, I mean, we all know TJ. We love TJ. Chad
Mm,
Brown's been around for a long time, but he's kind of just released a brand new single as well. I know Aaron's going on tour with Matt Lang as well. So, I mean, like, that's a big one too.
yeah.
And Matt's a huge act right now as well, who's starting to get a whole lot of recognition. And he is a lovely individual. He's so funny. We're at the CCMAs this year in Hamilton, and I'd met him before, but very, very briefly. I'm not even sure that he would have remembered, but just so happened he did. And we were staying in the same hotel, and I turned the corner and he's standing at the elevator and he's holding this box in his hand. And this elevator, I go, "Hey, Matt, how's it going?" And he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "BC, right?" And I'm like, "I don't even know how you'd remember that, but okay." Like, "Yeah, dude." I'm like, "That's awesome. Good for you. Cool. Thanks." You know?
Hmm.
And um, and then he's just sort of holding this box and holding this box. The elevator is just like, you know, those elevators, right? And it's sort of like, do I talk more or what? This thing is taking a century to get, you know, down to our floor, or whatever. And so finally the elevator opens and I look at him and I go, bet you're, what did I say? I said, bet you're looking forward to putting that box down. I don't know what's in it. And he looks down at the box and he looks at me and he just goes like this and he pulls out his bottle of whiskey. rum, and he just like gives me this bottle of Matt, like it's like awesome. And so I've got it at home here, and it's like, you got to get it. It's so
Hmm.
good.
I'm actually going to be talking to him on Friday, I think.
Are you
Yeah.
right? You'll have to bring it up and just go. I had Karen Lee Batten on. She said you gave her a bottle of booze at the elevator, and she still really is enjoying your booze.
I'll definitely make a note for that too.
That's awesome.
Actually, I had one of my guys out to cover the CCMAs this year. It looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. And we have Edmonton next year, so we're already all booked and good to go for that. Can't wait.
I'm hoping to have someone there for that one too.
Perfect. That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Now, I do have a couple fun questions that I always do near the end of my interviews, just to pick your brain a little bit. And my first one is, what's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
What is one thing that should be asked more in an interview that is not asked enough? Hmm. I do love the question. I actually got asked this in a written interview that I just completed a few days ago, and I thought that was a good one. And it was, what are 5 things that you would have told yourself just starting out?
Okay, I like that one.
That was an interesting one, and I liked that. Um, I mean, the rapid fire ones are hilarious, you know, like pizza and all that kind of jazz. But I think that, like, you know, getting to know the in depths of a person is good. So I probably would say, yeah, like, what would you tell your younger self?
Okay, I like that one. I use this one because I need to curate questions extra sometimes, just because.
Love it.
Now, what's something on your go-to playlist that people wouldn't expect you're listening to, like a guilty pleasure song?
So I love, back in the day, I don't even know. I mean, some people might remember her or not, but I love Annie DeFranco.
Okay, yeah,
Do you remember her?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so amazing. And then, of course, Eva Cassidy. And when I started listening to Eva, not a lot of people knew who she was, and I was recommended her from someone as well. And if ever I want to really warm up my voice, I kind of harmonize along with Eva. And her voice is just like probably one of the best I've ever heard in the world. And I know
Mhm.
that that's a bold statement, but man, that girl, like, we lost her way too early from melanoma. And, but like, holy, her legacy lives on. If you've never heard her voice, I'm saying to the audience, you've got to look it up. Oh my gosh. Had I a golden thread, I get it. You'll start listening. You'll be like, it's super gospely, but just like for vocal, like, blow your mind, you
Mhm.
like listen to that song. But she does like Fields of Gold, and she covers like all of these amazing, amazing songs from back in the day. And yeah, so I would say Eva Cassidy comes on my playlist quite often. I'm a Brothers Osborne girl too. Like, I play them
Yeah.
a lot. And Brett Young is still one of my very favorites.
I mean, yeah, Brett's always been a favorite of mine too.
Yeah, he's sort of like my get ready music. I know that sounds funny, but I'll just like, he's so many albums you can just, you know, push shuffle and like, you know, listen to him forever. And then Michael Bublé is still, that's a go-to for me.
Hmm. Oh, those are all nice ones. I love Pretty much every one of those names you said. I think I have most of them on my playlist right now too.
Nice. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but like, yeah, those would be probably in my little top 10 there.
Hmm. Oh, that's nice. Now, more serious question. What do you hope fans take away from your music?
Hmm. Um, I mean, as of late, I just want them to have fun, you know? Like I know that my next single that's coming out is a tiny, tiny bit more in depth, but the last couple of singles, I think that's where my head has been at is I just want people to have fun and just relax. There's just so much going on in the world that, we um I'm not a news girl.
Mm,
I'll admit that, like I'll even say to my husband, unless I absolutely need to know something, like it's coming down the street, like I
yeah.
can't always handle it, and of course we always see it. We're on social media. We're not, we're not blind, but like it's hard to consume it on a daily basis. And so for me, the last two singles, were something that I needed too.
Hmm.
And I just needed to just sit back and like have fun, with Drinking Song. It was at a time when we were only allowed six people. So I
Yep.
had my six girlfriends outside, and inside of the restaurant, I think we were, I can't remember how many we were allowed and at that point, but we shot it on in two little areas or whatever. But like, we had to keep it to a minimum and so on. And, it was like, okay, I'm still going to do this and I'm still just going to, make it a blast and put my girlfriends in it and put my friends in it. And it kind of led me into this next video where in the past I've been used to having, extras and actors. And that by all means, all of that is great. But for me, when I'm cutting a record, I found that out real quick, or sorry, video, I found that out real quick with Drinking Song, that the most fun I have and the most real I am is when I'm with the people that know me and that I love. And so that's what I kind of went into, even though I could have done, a huge production with The Trouble with Friends. I know every single person in the room, and it's
Yeah.
like, it was so much fun. My brother's in it. My sister-in-law's in it. My brother's never been in a video in his life. And I made him look like the biggest drunk. It's hilarious.
Okay.
And my mom messages me, she's like, wow, Luke drank a lot in your video, hey? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he is definitely not the good kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, I think I just wanted to, yeah, just have everybody relax a little bit and cover your mouth and have fun, with music and be able to just kind of drive down the road and sing it like an anthem and, watch the video and laugh and smile. And I think that for me was something that I needed. Therefore, I wanted to give it to other people.
Hmm. Now, before we sign off, what motivates you to keep going?
Kind of goes back to the very beginning. I I love music, like I liked being in the choir. I liked being in the band in school. It was something that I excelled at. And um I you can forever learn this industry, whether you're, booking people or promoting people or creating an event or creating a show, or whether it's me on stage or whether it's me writing or me, learning my craft better, to, put on a show myself. I feel like it's forever changing, and so it's almost like a little bit of an addiction for me. I mean, I've been in this industry for over a couple of decades now. And I would not be me if I didn't have music. And I think that the world relates so much to music. It literally is universal. You don't even have to know the language, and you can go to Mexico and hear that music and your feet start tapping.
Hmm.
You want to dance, you can go to India and hear that beat, and we all know that beat the minute I say that word.
Yeah.
And and you want to move, and it doesn't mean that that's your favorite type of music, but it's world, the whole world engages with it, and I get to be a part of something that that causes emotion and movement, and I feel like that's a pretty cool industry to be a part of, and I feel really blessed that it's something that I have been able to, succeed at, or continue with and have a career doing. So I would I'd be dumb to turn my back on something like that. And I say that and I'm sort of laughing inside, because I think in every industry that anyone is in, there comes points when you're like, man, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I've been there.
Totally. I think we all have. So I'm sort of laughing and smiling at the same time, because it literally is day to day. And you might have those moments of, like, screw this. But like, at the end of the day, we have to admit it. I mean, we love it. We really do. And I love what you're doing too is amazing and awesome. And I can't thank you enough. I know I'm not the one interviewing, but I can't thank you enough for doing what you're doing for independent artists like myself or other artists as well. And all of it matters. And there's so many pieces to the puzzle that allows us to do what we do and kind of get to the next level. And so I appreciate you for that too.
Well, and I always love talking to people and getting to learn more about the person behind the song. So that's why I do stuff like this, because my team and myself, we want to tell the story of what's going on out there in the music world.
Love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I have written down, and Zoom will probably kick us off soon. So it's definitely been a pleasure getting to catch up with you and kind of pick your brain a little bit more. And we're going to make sure we post the links for all your socials and songs and everything. And I very much hope that we get to do this again sometime.
Me too. Thank you for having me. I super, super appreciate you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm always available. So you can very easily find me on social. I manage all the social media accounts. So I'm easy to contact.
Sweet, man. Well, normally it's me on my Facebook fan site. My social team sometimes comes on board if it's something generic. Outside of that, it's always me on Insta. It's always me on my other pages too, and I always see all the messages on Facebook too. And then of course there's Jasper, and he's my other guy, so he's got you too.
Awesome. Well, we'll sign off, and you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll keep in touch.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Bye.